he had a laugh.
Well, maybe he needed a bit of a breather. It's been a lively opening stanza for him. This is good pressure, though. Taylor and Moore for Edgeworth, pressurising those Wanderers central defenders well. This is the problem that's brewing at the moment. Attacking midfield for the Wanderers.
Neville drives it across. The skipper cut it out, Evans. Just wonder about the wisdom in Edgeworth playing an up-tempo game after all their workload at the moment. But they fancy themselves physically. Again, Neville getting some joy down that right-hand side.
Well, what is ideal as far as preparation's concerned?
Yeah. Nichols finds some space now. They saw off the first cross and
Edgeworth Eagles.
Topple, Stanley and Neville coming from deep as they work it through Nichols. And now Hamill just blazed.
And with a keeper who was up to match speed, certainly by my recollection, the first free kick from...
Well, they want handball there against Aspro. It was an awkward height for him. Hamill picking him up. Topple Stanley playing chief organiser. Hamill goes for goal. That was ambitious, Redmond.
The opportunity has come to nothing for Edgeworth.
And they try and press from the front, get a cheap turnover, but the Wanderers good enough to play their way out from the back. And Bacchus ignores Scott Neville. And it runs away from Nichols. Well cleaned up by Bazzari, trying to hook one across towards Daniel McBreen.
Yeah. You can see the nervousness.
Back to her, no doubt, and we wish you luck tonight.
Okay, thanks.
And the sacrifices of coaches. He was back in time to play taxi driver at 11 p.m. Take people home from the 40th.
Well, that was the most nervous he was in the whole interview. Bring on the Wanderers, bring on anyone. You had to let that out of the bag, Speedy, didn't you? I went AWOL on my partner's foot.
Sponsor at the club. Here's Keanu Moore. Trying to make room down that right-hand side, but it all got a little tight, and the Wanderers were well organised. Little slip from Bazzari. Kusakami trying to make him pay. Now Neville with McLaughlin to beat. He got a little toe in to good effect. And now McBreen finally with some time to try and play hold-up man. Couldn't quite link. You get that 3+1 benefit in the Asian Champions League, which they qualified for again, the 2014 champs. Keanu Moore again, providing a handful. Out towards Taylor. Bends it back to good effect, just eluding Holtz though. Short corner routine, and Kusakami will claim a bobble there. Still get a corner out of it off McBreen.
Yeah, good defending from Daniel McBreen. Not the cross that Kusakami was after, needless to say, but still had some work required to clear the danger from Daniel McBreen.
Dimas with the in-swing, a good shape on it too. Well defended again by the Eagles. Teammates to push out. And now the turn from Kusakami, and how is that? last-ditch defending again from the skipper, Josh Evans.
Well, the central pair are defending really well. Probing away the Western Sydney Wanderers. A close passing, working the touch. Offered an angle to try and roll defenders. Is looking full of promise from a Wanderers viewpoint, but can't get past those final Edgeworth defenders.
Yet another corner whipped in, and the header is in. The Wanderers do take the lead, and it's Scott Neville back in the hunter. Scored a wonder goal in the grand final last season, and this one, with the aid of a deflection, puts Western Sydney in front.
That's a beautiful corner right into the danger zone. Very, very well met by Scott Neville. For that local government area. Look, I think there is some funding coming, but this is the case with football. It's all very late.
Kusakami, lovely weight. Lustica! Only had to keep it down to make it.
Yeah, the dominance looking like paying off. Kusakami has been outstanding, and there's another connecting passes.
Breen the target, knew where Brent Hamill was. Guided it down intelligently. Now Hamill whipping one across. And Lustica up against his own byline. Able to fight for control and release Dimas. They've been unhurried and unfazed, working it out from the back on so many occasions. Western Sydney, which will please Tony Popovich.
A little bit sluggish in deciding what he was going to do with it.
Into the 1 minute of stoppage time. Being added on at the end of the first half. Edgeworth would love to see this through, and Wanderers looking for one more dagger blow before the half-time whistle. Nichols, beautifully worked by the Wanderers, and good pick out as well of Hamill, and it's Sue right before the break. Western Sydney with ruthlessness strike before the break.
Well, Pizzardi was away from his marker job for that moment. Dylan Holtz didn't go with Mitch Nichols. The run on track to Nichols could.
Yeah, for sure. As it wore on, like you said, you can see Edgeworth will just start to tire a little bit. The Wanderers are really good at changing point of attack, just moving it from one side to the other. And you could see in that second goal that Brendan Hamill scored that they were actually, both fullbacks were in the box, you know, waiting, ready to score. And Scotty Neville already got himself a header as well. So, yeah, it's a tough, you know, second half coming up for Edgeworth.
Let's have a look at the goals, Boz. What do you like about the Wanderers' performance?
Look, I think it was just typical Wanderers. There's nothing really too flash about them, and that's really how they've made their name since they've come into the A-League. Let's be honest. They rely on a lot of perspiration, and not too many teams, I would say, in the A-League who are as fit as them. And that really come to the fore in the last 10 minutes with the both goals. They'll be disappointed about Edgeworth to concede such an easy goal really from a set play. The pitch hasn't made it easy for both sides. It is bobbling a hell of a lot, although it looks great on TV. But if you just watch it very closely, the ball is bobbling. Goalkeeper will be disappointed with that. But that is the Wanderers. Like I said, they just ground you down. There's nothing flash about it. They have their system, and they just rely on continually and consistently doing it until you make a mistake. But from their perspective, when they come into the really big games, your grand finals, in which they haven't had a great record in, okay, Asian Champions League final, that was different. That was over 2 legs. They're going to have to find that little bit more of inspiration when they come up against teams who are really defensive orientated and who are going to keep their shape no matter what. That's something for them to think about in the future.
Hef, back to Edgeworth, how they can get themselves out of this little pickle that they find themselves in. They started the game brightly, but then eventually, obviously, the quality of the opposition makes them fall back into things that they perhaps don't want to be involved in. But what are the things that are perhaps going to, you know, make it interesting in the second half for Wanderers?
that tackle Pascal gave Dimas early on, that little nudge in the back. Yeah, we're here for a game as well. You're not just going to walk through us. They might need a bit of that early on in the second half. Keanu Moore is a very handy little player. He's been playing number 10. I think if they can get him on the ball more often, obviously Daniel McBreen's their number 1 target, their number 1 player. He's had to do a lot of defending. If they can somehow just free him up so he can just engage the 2 centre backs and stay high, and then, you know, try and hit him a bit earlier. And they've got so much athleticism in Edgeworth that those young players, they'll get up there and support. You know, then, yeah, I guess they just have to weather the storm from the Wanderers as well, because the Wanderers will keep creating chances as well.
Other games, let's touch on them now.
Anything, obviously, Dimas getting that knock pretty early on in that half. Damien Zane pretty disappointed that they are down 2 goals. He thought they were fairly good at the start of the game, but just probably clocking off near the end of the half. Just want to slow things down a little bit, and for the Wanderers, obviously, more of the same.
Appreciate the pause there, Glenn, and they come again, the Wanderers. Scott Neville, chance to make it 3, and he has done. 2 goals on the night for Scott Neville, enjoying his return to the Hunter. And Fogarty helpless again in goal for Edgeworth.
Well, they prized the field open beautifully, the Wanderers. Ultimately, the ball falling to Neville. Great interchange as well. And I'm not quite sure what Fogarty was doing there. He was reading the run, or was his attention was taken by Lockie Scott. It's the best you can.
Boosting touch that he was after. McBreen determined to get on the end of that, and good vision to pick out Brent Hamill. McBreen streams forward, looking for some kind of return ball from the right back. No way past the chances of opposing fullbacks going up against each other halves. Brendan Hamill and Brent Hamill.
Well, a goal for one and plenty of promise from the other.
Likewise, Kusakami, another neat turn to release Nichols. Bizarri trying to dive in. Now Lustica. Kusakami again. Kinatara is getting forward. Kusakami trying to pick out the skipper, Topple Stanley, who stayed forward. Determined run from Brodie Taylor, but again the Wanderers unpanicked. Then Aspro turned it over sluggishly. And Brodie Taylor having a crack. Good trajectory on the shot, but always sailing wide.
Well, the one thing that Edgy have done tonight well is harass the central defenders of the Western Sydney Wanderers, and they've got a couple of opportunities for goal out of it. This is the latest of those.
Aspro. Natares gets it back from Neville. Bobbling ball, and it's one for McBreen to chase right through the middle. A gift for McBreen! Scored a grand final goal against the Wanderers in 2013. Offers the Edgeworth Eagles a lifeline. Emphatically taken by the 39-year-old.
Well, didn't he show a pair of heels? And as the ball was heading towards his right foot, you thought Aspro and Redmayne might be a chance. But he snuffed out that chance pretty quickly. The bobble suited him as well. Lustica facing the same goal brought a cropper by that bobble, but not McBreen. Brilliant finish.
And Lustica! Fogarty! Across smartly to deny Lustica. And the Wanderers that throw.
This is great from Lustica. I reckon Fogarty owed his team one, and he's done it big time. It's an outstanding save. Auckland sliding in there.
Ooh. Bazzari, who's been playing the man marking role, able to get forward now. Suddenly Bryn Hamill's getting some joy down that right-hand side. Lovely touch, and trying to place it there was the substitute, Aidan Gardner.
Well, they've got a good target in Danny McBreen. Aidan Bryce has joined the fray, as has Josh Evans.
Whipped in by Bazzari, and it was a free header for the skipper. Couldn't direct it on target, and he knows that was a good opportunity.
You know, a modicum of anticipation from Moriyasu, and there might have been a reward at the end of it. You can see Moriyasu just the middle of the screen there. Didn't continue his run. That's a better angle.
Starting to get a bit more joy in the Wanderers half. Early ball, McBreen got over the top of it, and they're asking did it cross the line, but Redmayne well aware of his positioning.
Well, Asprey's asking for the foul. That's a terrific header from Daniel McBreen. The ball was hung up in the air. Asprey reckons he was dealt with unfairly. The replay.
Kinatares. Good, strong work from the defensive midfielder. That'll please Wanderers fans. And now Sandelab makes it safe. They're into the quarterfinals now, Western Sydney. 4-1 in front. Job done in the Hunter. He's the super sub again, Brendan Sandelab.
Well, I don't reckon he had a lot of right to get to this one, Brendan Sandelab. Josh Evans, the Edgeworth keeper, has been outstanding tonight, but he just couldn't muster the effort. Ghosting in on the blind side was Sandelab. McLaughlin.
Those early openings. Good advantage played by Milner, and Nichols with wonderful vision finds Lustica, who's trying to pick out Sandelab, who stayed on side intelligently, and he's got a double.
His man upfield again. Nichols, with that sort of time and space, is going to find worse players than Steve Lustica, and Lustica did really nicely. Great first touch from Brendan Sandelab and a really cool finish.